Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. Back with the man, myth, the legend, Mr. Jonathan Twomley. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Michael. How are you?
Oh man, I've been looking forward to this conversation. It's
I just
something.
want to say, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I shouldn't have interrupted because now you're in the middle of like introducing this segment, but I didn't mention it before, but I just have to say I'm like admiring the professorial demeanor there, with your turtleneck and your blazer and your beard and everything.
Oh, thank you.
Quite distinguished recently.
I'm trying. I'm trying to help people, and if this is what it takes to get more people to stick and listen, it's fine. I got the jackets in the closet, so might as well use them.
Man, I got to up my game, Michael. You look bad. So, but anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay.
Introduction to this segment.
Yeah, that's all right. So we're going to talk about here is probably one of the most important topics that people need to realize. Folks, you can argue, you can be upset, you can do whatever you want, but in reality, we have lived in an easy money policy for more than a decade.
Yeah. It
got a little tight in 2018 Q4. That is going to turn out to be nothing, right, in the scheme of things.
That was not tight. That was
no, but if your world's the last 10 years, that was as tight as it got.
Yeah,
folks, the party's over. They've now taken away the punch bowl. Nobody's spiking anymore. All the drugs are gone. If you are running around the party now hammered, watch out, because the party's over. There's no more musical chairs. The easy money game is over. And if you're not ready, it's going to hurt. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, as we said in the last segment, the Bank of America and others are predicting that the Fed is going to raise rates quite substantially over the next couple of years. This is something that they have said over the last 10 years was their intention, right? This is not like a secret. This is not like some kind of like radical change in direction on the course of the Fed. They have been trying to do this ever since basically about 2012, 2013, right? So
yeah,
and they have been stymied at every occasion by either the economy getting a little softer, as happened, sort of 2016-ish, by the market freaking out in 2018 when they tried to do it. Mm-hmm. But I think that they're looking around right now. They're seeing the inflation, boogeyman that people have been predicting since the bailout of 2008, right? We've been hearing about inflation resulting from all this since 2008, and it hasn't happened. It now is finally starting to happen, right? And that A, sort of forces the Fed's hand, and B, kind of gives them some cover to do what they needed to do, right? Or what they've said all along that they wanted to do. Yeah. So we are going to see interest rate hikes. I mean, they've already said they're going to do it. And different banks out there are predicting sort of how far this is going to go, but it's happening, right?
Oh, so it's happening, absolutely.
It's happening. And if Bank of America, they've predicted 11 rate hikes over the next 2 years, taking the Fed funds rate to 2.75, right? That is, now some of you will go, oh my God, 2.75. This is still low by historical standards. Normal Fed funds rate is 3 to 4%. Right, so this is still low, of historical standards. However, for people who have only known low interest rates, extremely low interest rates, practically zero interest rates for basically their entire investing lives, this sounds like disaster. And frankly, it's going to be painful.
It's going to be painful. Yeah.
It is going to cause asset prices to decline. And even if you believe, as I do, that asset prices are overinflated, everything is overvalued, saying things are going to return to something more like their true value, well, that's fine in an academic sense, mm-hmm. to say this is better, except it's not better for all the people who bought at the top, right? So
yeah, there's a lot of pain. If you have debt resetting in the next 24 months, oof, watch out.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to affect everything. It is going to affect the stock market, so your stock portfolios, right? It is going to affect the price of real estate. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't cause an outright decline in real estate, it's at least going to stop price appreciation dead in its tracks.
Oh, yeah. Transactions will fall, at least on the resident. So what will happen, I think, on the residential, transactions will fall. Again, I go back to the 70s. It feels like I repeat myself almost every episode. 1970s real estate residential did not decline. The smallest increase year to year was 0.9%. So call it 1. Transactions fell in a half. That's where the pain is.
Well, you also got to ask yourself, is this 1980 or is this 2007? Right?
Ooh, yeah.
Because 1980 was not a debt crisis. Right? 2007 was a debt crisis, and 2022 is going to be a debt crisis as well.
Agreed.
Right. So, I mean, it is, because it's the same cause. The recession in 1980, inflation in those days was, caused by all sorts of factors like, the hangover from the Vietnam War, all, the Great Society programs, all of the government spending. It was more like fiscally driven. It wasn't monetarily driven. It wasn't because of cheap money and cheap debt. It wasn't debt fueled. It was fiscally fueled. And also, energy prices and all kinds of other stuff that happened at the same time, right? What happened since then, though, is, basically the monetarists got control of stuff. They got control of the Fed, and they went, to town, especially once Greenspan got in control.
Oh yeah, Greenspan.
Right. And, he was the hero, but he's the guy who got us started on this whole problem, right? So, we've lived in this very, very low interest rate environment for quite some time. And just like 2007, 2007, the bubble was debt fueled. And then when the Fed cut off the spigot, it caused a crash. And that's kind of where we are again. Nothing has changed since then. They just kicked the can down the road after the great financial crisis. So, I'm hoping that this is not going to be the pay the piper moment. I'm sure the Fed is hoping to do this in a way that doesn't create a crash, but they have to get back to normal.
Yeah.
They can't have a balance sheet. The Fed since 2010 has how many multiple, of all the money the Fed created in the previous 100 years, how many is several multiples of that in 10 years?
Yeah. Well, their balance sheet's 9 trillion, just over 9 trillion. That's not good.
They know that they have to unwind this. And I think now, like I said before, inflation gives them
cover
to do it. And the economy is, it's roaring right now, right? So I just saw, unemployment in Miami is 1%.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Just astonishing, right? So with the economy that hot, it gives them, they hope, the chance, but it's going to, to raise rates, but raising rates is going to cause asset prices to decline.
Yeah, there's so much in this conversation. Again, I go back to Paul. Is Jerome Powell going to be a mini Paul Volcker? So let's first talk about what that means. Paul Volcker whipped inflation because he took the Fed funds rate above inflation.
Yeah.
Several, I think at one point it was 500 basis points above inflation. It basically rewarded you to save.
Yeah. So
guess what? People stopped borrowing money. Duh.
I remember my mom being so excited about being able to, she would make 13% in a passive savings account.
Crazy.
I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. I can put money in the bank and make this much interest.
So the reason I bring that up is because, again, we talk about 2.75 like it's like this. It's so high. Yeah. At 2.75, even conservatively speaking, it's still half of inflation.
Yeah.
So I would argue that 2.75 maybe slows the economy down a little bit, maybe adjust this or that. But if you want to whip inflation, that's not going to do it, in my opinion.
Well, but I guess it goes back to what we were just talking about, though. What's the cause of it, right? Sure. And if the cause of the inflation is easy money, then taking away the punch bowl
maybe
is going to have a big effect. I think the problem in the 70s that's different is that inflation was so persistent because of what OPEC was doing and because of all the other things that we were talking about. It just, it just made it so difficult to make a dent in, which is why Volcker had to go so radical. I think, here it may be different because what the problem has been is pumping all the money into the system, and then you start sucking the money back out,
Yeah,
it may have a greater effect. It may not have to go to that
maybe.
radical to get things to start.
Yeah, but I certainly see that. I also do agree there's some supply chain elements of this. There's so maybe not, but I don't think 2.75 is enough, is I guess my point. And the other thing I'm willing to say is, if what I see coming, this is going to be years in the making. The pain is not going to be, it's not going to be a V-shaped recovery. It's not going to be Q1 of 2020 with the sharp down and then bounce back. That was a V-shaped asset recovery. It's going to be a long, drawn out, painful, death by 1,000 cuts feeling.
That is what happens in a debt crisis, right? In a debt created recession.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what happens is it just takes a long time for everybody to pay off that debt overhang, like that.
Yeah.
So money is getting, what's happening is money is getting, rather than being constantly able to roll over the debt at ever cheaper interest rates, the piper has to finally get paid. And now corporations have to pay back that money, right, with more expensive debt. And that sucks money out of what they can purchase, who they can hire, and it takes a long time to work through the system. The problem with what happened in the great financial crisis was that process was not allowed to play out, right? The Fed stepped in to save another Great Depression. That was the right thing to do. But once that had happened, then what needed to happen was for the debt to get paid off, all that bad debt to work its way through the system, be worked out, take the hit, and then reestablish the economy on a better footing. But instead, what happened was the Fed just said, "Hey, here's some more money."
Yeah, exactly.
And here, go borrow some more. So that, I mean, gosh, it's kind of scary to think about what could happen. But you're right. I mean, we could be in for an extended period of low growth again, and then what's going to happen? Then the Fed is going to try to pump up another bubble. I mean, I don't think they're going to have the intestinal fortitude to say, no, we have to take our medicine and work this out.
I think the best case scenario is we have a couple of years of what's called stagflation. I don't know what you think of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there'll be stagflation or not. I think slow growth is certainly in the cards, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, in reality, the easy money game is over. I think there's a lot of people that have been investing for 5, 6, 7 years that aren't ready for it. Maybe they're still risk on, right? So maybe you have some time to kind of adjust that. But folks, again, recessions are part of the business cycle. Recessions are like clearing the underbrush. We have a lot of underbrush to take care of. You can make a lot of money. I'm excited for what's coming. But again, as in episode 2, I prepared for what's coming. So yeah, it's going to be exciting either way to see what's happened. So Jonathan, how can people find you?
Yeah, a number of ways. You can get on my investor list by going to Two Bridges Asset Management LLC. Just pop it into Google and fill out the form and get on the list. You can go to the multifamily investment community and join my Facebook community with 12,000 of my closest friends, including Michael.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can get on my email list by going to multifamilylaunchpad.org and downloading the free download you'll find there, which I'm going to make a surprise this time. If you want to find out what the free download is, you got to go to multifamilylaunchpad.org.
Yes.
Download it and you'll get on my general email list.
Awesome, Jonathan. Thank you very much for your time this week. Great conversation.
You too, Michael. See you in a week.
You got it.